Hello, welcome to Revolution Radio Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. We're in April, so 25% of the year has passed us by. Wow. Big thank you to Tony and, well, or also known as Why Not, and the Y-Files and crew. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to Revolution Radio, revolution.radio and or freedomslips.com and click on the Patreon button and share what you can in these interesting times that we live in, and we should find out which Chinese person said that so we can travel back in time and give him a wedgie. What else? Oh yeah, and while you're at, you click on the Patreon, and because we're 100% listener supported, so thank you for everyone that has chipped in. We're 100% volunteer, so I'd like to thank myself for turning up yet again, mainly because I can do my game show voice. Hello, how are you? And when you're at the website, just pop into the swag, the merchandising. What else? I can't remember what it's called. Merchant. Yeah, it's just. What else is it called? Hang on, I'm actually going to have a look. Store. There you go. You can buy things that says Revolution Radio on it, and one of the latest things is certain shows have their own coffee mugs or coffee mugs now. I really have to send in the Planet Collingwood logo, so at least I could have a coffee mug of my logo on for Revolution Radio. So yeah, there's caps and t-shirts and now coffee cups. So there you go. And then pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted, just like people. And for those playing at home, Flippy is called Flippy Dean this moment in time. I think that's all the housekeeping we've done, and I've been joined by Cortek, Raz, and Bruce, the A-team. 20 years ago, a small team were. No, I can't remember how the A-team starts, but yeah, we'll help you out through the underground. Gentlemen, how are we?
Good thing. That's how it goes. Sorry, Bruce. Good.
Yes, I do know the theme, but unfortunately, due to copyright laws, we can't actually. Anyway, so what's been going on in the world of views? Very Australian.
Oh, what hasn't been going on, Monty?
Liberation of humanity, free. Now I've got a list.
I'm out.
All right. Let me start by saying, and this is going to be very, very controversial for a lot of people and very triggering. The West is going down. The ruble is now king. What do we do?
In the last 5 years, just wait.
Did
you see how the leader of the free world was wandering about the White House being ignored by everybody? So, most of it's farcical, absurd, and, it's just all theatre. Now, obviously, there's method acting when you kill people because they kill people. However, there you go.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of hard when you're in a certain frequency. It's like, hang on, I create my own world. My consciousness is being reflected back at me. I'm trying to create my better self, and everyone else is like, yeah, but there's things happening. Elon's bought Twitter. So it's like, yeah, okay.
So, well, let's recalibrate. Not taking away from the veracity of what Raz said.
I think we need to recalibrate. It's a good idea. Sorry, I did it again.
You are anti-flow.
I am muting right now. You are visibly muting.
Yeah.
And let's just, judges, go to the clock. Yeah, 4 minutes for Cortek to interrupt. All right. That's a world record. Back to you, Bruce.
So, look, the world is changing around us faster than we can process. Although most people listening and most people on this show have been aware of this transformation sometime beforehand, okay? Socially, politically, economically, spiritually. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. It all depends on how you adapt to change and quite frankly, how strong your spirit is, your connection with life, your will to live, and your will to take direction from life. Break down your own programming. As Dickens said, it's the best of times and the worst of times, because everything that's happening has to happen. We've all been asking for it for 10 or 15 years, end the corruption, end the deep state, end all the evil in the world. Well, the cat and dog aren't getting along here. This cat, anyways, something heard that, and we're getting it. But the only way that we can get the remedy is to irradiate the disease. So you just don't want you don't want to be in the areas that are going to be irradiated. And I know I'm starting to regret that metaphor right away, because it's not what I.
Yeah. Well, it's like, manifest the freedom of humanity, and we'll rise above and move forward, and we should have transparency, and get rid of hypocrisy. And unfortunately, the Prime Creator had a couple of scotches when we asked that, and it's like, okay, how about transparency through hypocrisy? And that's going to work. And that's what we're seeing. Like, okay, you wacky funster.
Really, I mean, all of the various plans that we see in the world, I don't think they're going to work. I don't think any of them are going to work. I don't think a Rothschild-based Western banking system is going to persist. I don't think the Great Reset is going to happen. I don't think global Marxism is going to happen. Too many people have tasted the good life. Those 200, 250, 300 million middle-class Chinese in Shanghai and Beijing making $100,000 a year, sending their kids to the best schools, having servants for everything, even to, clean your shoes. They don't want to give it up. Nobody wants to give it up. Right. So it's what I'm trying to say is, avoid the really dark stuff. OK. And there's some really dark voices out there right now. Many of them have digested some form of scripture incorrectly, and they're profoundly imbalanced in their perception. So, I mean, basically, we're in a kind of a chaotic situation where nobody's really running anything. It's all the whole governing system now is like a non-playing character. Things are happening, but nothing is going to plan. Okay.
Unlike Apple.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody buys this buka crap, man. Everybody knows what we knew.
They do.
Go ahead.
Well, they do. That's the other thing. When I'm adding myself to this, so I can take the brunt away. Like in the past show, how can people believe this? It's like, well, they do. It's the collage of humanity. There are people that love Hillary Clinton. We don't, because really, but it's amazing. You'd be amazed what beliefs humans have. Now, the thing is, I'm wondering, because humanity's been in survival mode for so long that they consciously see, hang on, something's wrong here, but the subconscious whispering, yeah, but we could get in trouble. We may die.
No, I think you're being way too cynical, Monty. I think cracks are showing up everywhere now, far left, far right, and people are coming to more commonality.
Well, yeah, that was where I was trying to get to. It's like, no, there is optimism because people are waking up to it, and so I'm digging a hole. Continue on.
Well, I mean, the unifying point is they're lying to us. Period. The left is lying to the left. The right is lying to the right. Both sides are lying to the general populace, the citizenry. Nobody's telling the truth, and everybody's pretty much figuring it out now. What is the root of it? I would say insolvency on every level: spiritual, moral, and material insolvency of the Western Empire. We were given the reins of the world in 1989, and in 33 short years, we have completely effed up everything. We have brought everybody into our system at gunpoint, and they came in and proven the system doesn't really work, and kind of illuminated that it's run by arch gangsters. Say what you will about oligarchs in Russia. Nothing quite compares to the heist of 2007. That money went somewhere. Somebody knew those bonds were not kosher. Okay? And that bailout money went somewhere. Where did that $6 trillion Trump took out of the Treasury go? Where did that go? right?
They lose big wads of cash all the time. I think they've got a giant wallet. Sometimes they put it in and it gets lost easy.
No, well, have you seen the size
Yes.
of the Pentagon
Clearly.
couch where they, what on
Oh,
September
big
the
couch.
10th?
Big
Yeah, it's a
couch.
very big couch because on September the 10th, 2001, it was announced that $2.3 trillion is missing. Like,
It's all got to be down the back of that couch. I reckon.
yeah, it's
Someone
a,
should
yeah,
just
well,
have a good
yeah,
look
just
for
the
it.
the
Go
Pentagon the Pentagon couch is huge. There's a lot of you ask simple questions like yeah, well, we saw Justin Trudeau in the European Parliament, and like he thinks he's the dog's bollocks, the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, whatever top shit, whatever term you want to use. But he got nailed to a tree because it's like, well, let's just look at your actions, sir, and you're acting like a tyrant and a dictator.
Imagine repercussions from politicians that made decisions.
Oh, you and your fantasy crap. Keep it in sync.
I'm going to interject here and say that all the way back in 2007, 2008, during the housing bubble crash, we had someone named Larry Fink of BlackRock come into it. So the Fed was freaking out. They didn't know how to manage the situation. And it looked like the entire system was about to implode, and they didn't have the tools to handle it. And Larry Fink came in. Larry offered to help. He had a $7 trillion hedge fund, and he offered to help. He created, more like they created, the maiden lane. And most of the, the Wall Street giant assets will be placed and managed by the Feds officially there. But in reality, it was Larry Fink who was managing them. Now, fast forward to 2020. To 2020, we had another crash, but it was somehow smoked and smoke screened by the whole Corona thing. So the Fed was panicking again because the corporate bond market was ready to collapse. Investors no longer wanted the zombie corporation debt. So if the market, the corporation will no longer be able to fund themselves, except for issuing more stock. So what happens is, to avoid the death spiral, Larry Fink came in again and started buying worthless bond that actively they would buy his EFT and to subsidize him. So BlackRock had a big role to play in what you're saying. Just to get that point across and to let you get some.
Have you noticed with names as well? Like, some of the CNN reporters, their names are really weird. His name is Fink. Now,
if you're from Fink by nature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but if the 20th century, Fink means villain. Like, if you remember the Great Race, it's a brilliant movie with I've forgotten his name. That's Tony Curtis. They actually based on the Wacky Races, the cartoon, on the Great Race, and the villain of the piece was it's not Colonel Fink, was it Captain? It was Fink anyway, and he had Muttley who would just laugh.
That Larry guy's either changed his name to do that to match his personality, or it's either his name has affected him so much to grow up.
Oh no,
like that.
See, that's how humanity works because like two doctors from Doctor Who, their last name was Baker. Guess what one of their ancestors was?
Schumann.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're all cobbler. Yeah, twang. They were bakers, and that's how and like O'Leary and of Leary, and that's how last names turned up. Like, actually, I'm not sure where MacDonald comes from.
Larry comes from a long line of Finks. His dad was a Fink, and his dad before him.
Yes.
Biggest Fink of them all.
His son's a Fink.
Yeah, but it would be Larry Fink's son then, wouldn't it?
Oh, if you change the name now, but
Yeah,
I'm saying, names they come from somewhere. Like my last name is Dean, and I really want to become a professor at a university and be the head guy, so I could be called Dean.
Dean, nice.
Yeah, and then marry a girl called Nadine, and so when we get announced at the White House ball, it sounds like we're arguing. Please welcome Dean and Nadine.
So there's something about this Larry Fink. he invented something called ESG in investing. ESG stands for environmental, social, corporate governance. Now, that is exactly what wokeness is, and that's why we have so much wokeness and inclusion in entertainment these days. If you want financing, you have to follow Larry Fink's ESG and put wokeness in everything, and then you get finance. And that's one of the reasons why Hollywood has gone full woke these days.
Yeah, and no one likes it, and that's why they're going broke these days.
Yeah, well, they don't know what they're doing. They got no money anyway. They're like the government's in the lowest form of transitory power.
Yeah,
all the money's going into video games. Said it before.
Bruce.
What? Never mind.
Timing.
Yeah, that Fink guy's no good. Let's drop that topic. BlackRock and all that. That's depressing. This is a comedy show. So look, what I'm wondering seriously is what's going to bridge the triumvirate, right? The triumvirate of Rome, London, and Washington. What grouping of people could replicate that kind of power structure to run the world? Nobody. I mean, China and Russia are not that tight. I mean, they're, really not that tight. And I don't think there's any real strong alliance or bond between them. You see, the West, with the failing of the West, something is going on that we don't often talk about, okay? And that is what the West represented in terms of its ability to do commerce and interact with the world, because it amalgamated the world. We were a multicultural society, right? A curiosity, an oddity. Never had it really existed. I mean, sure, they had many different races in Rome and stuff, but really, at the end of the day, they're all around the Mediterranean there, right? They're all fundamentally the same people, more or less, with speaking some form of gibberish. But the West...
they didn't really have a Japanese embassy in Rome, did they?
Yeah. So if the West can't be replaced, what's going to happen? So if globalization, which was run by the West, okay, so globalization was a Rothschild plan, okay? Now, I don't think they're in charge of anything anymore. I think the Rothschilds are gone. I think they've been gone for over a decade. That's just my own personal intuitive feeling, okay? But what's running things now, I don't know. So what happens when you don't have the kind of cohesion that the West brought? Well, you go back to the way things were. You start
cohesion or corruption?
Well, there was a level of cohesion there. There absolutely was.
I think we could do far better.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, you could look at
better.
Well, the European West element of it has been around for, say, 2,000 years, and it's been a rocky road, but corruption's always been there. And of course, it can be done better. Like, you dial back corruption by 10 or 15% or 30%. The whole world could hum along quite nicely. Like, Bruce has given the example where you go to certain countries where they know it's corrupt, but you don't have one trying to be an overlord Palpatine, but it simmers in the background instead of being the focal point of society.
Yeah, we didn't always have top-down, structures that clearly don't work, and those people just seem so out of date and out of touch because of that. We do find from ground up structures. All we need to do is just get rid of. I mean, imagine getting rid of career politicians the world over. Oh my God, what a better place it'd be off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. There should be limits. It's really become grotesque, and basically you can say that. I mean, if you look at the U.S. political situation and the longevity of some of those leaders, it's basically a generational power grip, right? It's been all baby boomers, man. And Pelosi's a baby boomer, right?
She's so old looking. Did you see what I saw recently? I don't know where it was. During the Cold War alone, talking about whether the U.S. was trying to overthrow another government or not. During the Cold War alone, they manipulated and tried to overthrow 72 different countries. Yeah. It's what they do generally.
I think it was 2016 because they had the whole Russia Gate, which is right next to Lord of the Rings. It's in the fantasy section of the bookstore. CNN actually had that ticker tape thing at the bottom. It was like, has America influenced other countries in their elections? And once I stopped crying and laughing at the same time, and they're mid-70s. They've done it mid-70s. World War II was the changing point. And since then, the US has stepped up. Even if you want to say there's a cabal, and they're using the United States as the strong man, and now they're trying to bring it down because they're ready for the next phase. And strangely enough, Americans have this lovely this love affair with freedom. So it's going to be a very, very interesting thing. As well as Bruce said earlier, like there's a lot of Chinese people are very happy they have indoor plumbing. You know, I think we should expand human rights, like, you know, shelter, indoor plumbing, heating and cooling, little things.
Something more than a pit in the ground.
Well, it's like, where's your toilet? Oh, we have hole out back. You need to squat. Oh, right. Please tell me you've got toilet paper. Oh, no, you use hand.
It's tricky the first couple of times, I tell you.
Well, yeah.
Entirely comfortable with that.
I know. Because that's what you do. But also, it's like even in India, like there is poverty and people are living like utter shite. And I like how people say, but you know, it's good here and it's worse there. It's like, yeah, imagine if we raise our standard and we help them to raise their standard. Like Africa, because it's been kicked in the nuts for 400 years, that is fertile ground of actually moving forward without the corruption.
You notice how there aren't any more of those big rock star gatherings, you know, Feed the World or anything like that. You notice those have all gone away.
Yeah. What was it? Archon. He's a rapper. He didn't advertise it, but he spent millions of dollars on solar panels in Africa. He actually gave back to his heritage type thing. And Oprah apparently has done it, but whatever. But yeah. But, you know, she's one of the Super Friends. Remember when they had that big Super Friends conference? And it was Bill Gates and Oprah, and everyone's like, you really should arrest all these people.
Mouth,
yeah, you really should arrest people.
Yeah. Influencer.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah. Like on the last show, on the Y-Files, I was mentioning the Kardashians. And their influences, and it's like I think most people probably just think they're pretty and can't deal with their own life, so they live through them, which is sad because they're famous for being famous.
Brilliant segue. Kardashians, I just think big ass. That's the first thing that I got to be honest there. You want me to ink blot that? Big ass.
Gravitational pull.
Yeah, and it's a big thing over here where I live, the big bottom. Where are we going with this?
I kind of got distracted there.
Everything's good. I mean, I think that there's something very positive happening, but for it to happen, a lot of change has to happen, and change is synonymous with violence, right? There's a little language. You could think about that for 3 weeks. Give it a think. Change and violence are synonyms. So there, you know, the best thing you can do when change is coming, and let's say it's divinely ordained. You can't stop it. The best thing you can do is just go with it. You know, figure out how best to go with it. And I think the more entrenched you are in consciousness, the more encamped you are in your consciousness, the more difficult it is. It's going to be. You have to be a little bit migratory to survive this.
Yeah, what you were saying before. I mean, the first thing has to be that now there is that change, and you know you have to be ready for those changes because it provides those points to jump in and jam the gears, as McKenna would say. Yeah,
there you go. So, but let's just continue to detail the collapse because it's kind of, you know, stunning to watch. First of all, you know, just so that we're staying in reality and people don't think we're being, you know, falsely optimistic and naive here, with our vision of a positive future, which we all share, right?
Oh,
Cortek.
yeah.
Oh, hey, Cortek. Cortek's all positive. Must be those Russian books he reads.
Duh.
You should read them. They're beautiful.
Hey-yo.
That's the Ringing Cedar series. They're a beautiful series.
Yeah. So, clearly, it needs to be understood. I say this every time on your show now, Monty. This is one of my taglines.
Hi-yo!
Yeah, that's one too. But that's a call out, not a tagline. But, the tagline is, look, they're trying to kill you. Whatever Joe Biden seems to be doing, whatever it appears that he's doing to thwart Russia, it's really about punishing America. Okay? All intelligence agencies do is logistical analysis, like what's going on in Ukraine right now. Like, what would happen? Run it through a computer simulation. What would happen if Putin took over the Ukraine? What would be the economic? They know exactly, that line in the Bible, God knows the number of hairs on your head. The CIA knows exactly what happens. Okay? So they knew that all these consequences would come to America with the sanctions and everything, and they knew that they risked the petrodollar as well. They must have known, right? So we're at some kind of, why would they do it then if they knew? Okay? Or why would they well, I don't think they had a choice.
It's like the people in charge have been wanting to crash it for ages, building up the ceiling so it crashes harder. Now it seems like they're having problems trying to actually crash it into a wall.
Yeah, but what's the point of that? Because if they love money and power and all of humanity is living in a lean-to with a bucket, we may actually say, hey, remember the good old times when I could flush? Are they hoping for revolution?
It's probably possibly because all of their previous revenue streams everyone's become aware of, and they cannot profit so much off the military and complex anymore. They'd be hard pressed to pull another pharmaceutical stunt like they did. They're probably out of ideas. They're generally not that creative, it seems, or competent.
Well, yeah. I mean, which is worse, corruption or incompetence? And the answer is both.
Both.
When they do both, like, wow. Like here in Victoria, apparently they're trying to extend the pandemic laws till after the election. And I think we'll probably be the only jurisdiction on the planet doing that, because Queensland's going to stop their mandates. Northern Territory is going to stop their mandates. New Zealand has stopped their mandates. And it's like, oh, we're going to be like, we're turning into a joke. So
is it still Dan the angry man?
Yes. He apparently got COVID, even though he was masked up and triple jabbed.
Oh, suck it, Dan.
Yeah, because it's like that's the selling point. You need, get the virus, get the vaccine. You won't get the virus. Yeah, I got the virus, but everyone should get vaccine. Like, are you a salesman for Big Pharma? Like, what's the point here?
Yeah, no, I'm speaking to people who went through all that and didn't use their brain, didn't really think about it, went and just did it, or maybe got coerced into do it, but complaining of mental fog and metallic reflux. It's like, I mean, a lot of people saw that coming, but
I think a lot of people
should have seen that coming.
Well, I know you hope for it, but yeah.
Can I add somebody, Monty?
Yes. As his connection gets wobbly. It's interesting. There's a lot of people. I saw a statistic that a lot of people here in Australia aren't getting the third booster because they seen that they got duped or it didn't work. And I'll use Raz's favourite man, Jordan Peterson. He actually got the 2 jabs, so he'll be left alone. And he realised it's a mistake. And ever since then, he's been nailing the Canadian government on Twitter to a tree. And it's glorious to watch him just, when Jordan gets, cranky and he uses his intellect to sort of have a go at Trudeau. Oh, it's gorgeous.
I love it. It's great.
In the words of Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
Yeah, what about she became an adult and she's disappeared?
Yeah, great. I'm glad.
Yeah, we need to do something about the pollution and you're taking away my childhood and everything else like that. And it's like, well, when you mention China, I'll start listening to you.
It's like a child actor that got fucked. Much time.
Yeah. Oh, and we've been joined by Micheal from San Antonio. So he represents San Antonio here at Planet Collingwood. How are you, Micheal?
Great. Thank you. How are y'all?
Good, thanks.
Hello.
Real good.
Excellent.
I love it. It's like, oh right, yeah, bang, 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 and here's our
That's
new
the
guest.
show.
Hello, I'm very excited to be here. It's a privilege.
It's come through nice and clear, though.
Yeah,
What
nice
is
and.
this, like
Yeah.
Tuesday?
I'm sorry, what?
Hey, you.
When in doubt, just say hey yo.
Works on me.
So yeah, what are some of our predictions for more fun in 2022?
I don't know.
I'd just like to go back to the bit where we're not about Jordan Peterson having a go at the people who made the decisions for COVID. I think this whole thing in the Ukraine is probably just there only to take the attention away from what a retarded time we've had in the last 2 years. Who's going down the hardware store to get some rope to hang these bastards? All of these people involved, all these people who made these decisions that really resulted in a lot of people on medication dying.
Yeah, but that's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
Whoa.
Hey.
I know we've had like 2 years to get comfortable with it.
Rope? I can make rope out of abaca. You need rope? I can get you rope.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Cortek, I know a guy. Don't worry.
Excellent.
I can
Talk
get you
later.
rope. I can get you all the rope you need.
Excellent. We're going to need a lot.
But people still believe in the political system, and they believe in their leaders as well. Like we've got a federal election coming up here in Australia, and our two options are quite laughable. And
It's always a douche in a shit sandwich.
Yeah, actually, those two are better than the candidates we have. However, I think you'll probably see the silent majority. You'll probably see a lot of people voting because our preferences. There'll be a swing against the two major parties here in Australia because they're bad as each other. I'm channeling my mother. Oh, it's bad as each other.
Either that or we'll see exactly what we saw with the US election, and they'll just say the polls are really close, and then they'll stop counting halfway through, and they'll go the next one again. Look, we've invaded somewhere else.
I just want to say I live for these Australian political updates.
Uh-huh.
Well, good. So you're saying that Cortek shouldn't mention them, and then you'll die. Oh, that's sad.
It's a bit regional.
I can send you an 8-track. I can send you a tape of me just like Arnold Schwarzenegger going,
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to point out to you, but Australia is part of the globe, and it's good to share this information.
What are you looking at there? About 25 million people now?
Yeah, 25, 26.
Yeah. That's a city in India.
Yeah, no, it's a suburb in India. It's a city in the United States.
Well, there's no cities that. Well, actually, yeah. There's about 11 million people in the greater New York area.
Yeah, there's 20, 25 in Los Angeles.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of people.
So yeah, Australia can move into London or Los Angeles, and it's like using the example that if you gave everyone a quarter acre block on the planet today, you would cover all of Australia except for half of Queensland. And then someone said, when I said that, they've gone, oh, but you can't make people move to the desert. Dude, there's Hawaii. It's only an example. I mean, I don't think the planet needs everyone to move to Australia because,
But they could.
Yes. I mean, mathematically, yes. Feasibly, no. There's always Hawaii.
Maybe we could do it just like for a world challenge, bring everyone together.
What? It's like the how Jesus was born story. Like, everyone go back to where you were born. Everyone moves to Australia for a couple of years, and that will help. It's it's the Hunger Games on crack.
Remember when everyone just stood and held hands?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
They kind of brought people together, kind of in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, because Elon bought 9.2% of Twitter. I'm glad the slap has disappeared.
Yeah.
Is that a functionality feature of Twitter? Is it?
No.
Sure.
See how it's only been a week since Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and Cortek is completely Yeah,
I'm
see,
going to
that,
say something here.
I was
I'm going
playing
to
the
say
slap
something here.
game. Good job.
This Elon Musk guy, what's his MO? He's weird. He doesn't seem to have power. He doesn't seem to have money. Then suddenly he has money. Is he some sort of insert, some weird clone of I don't know who, and I don't even know what's going on.
Somebody.
That dude's an
It was weird. I thought he was there on the stage all of a sudden doing space stuff just to be a real life person that tries to put the idea of space off in other people.
He's playing both
Hollywood has tried to
sides.
do in the last.
He's playing both sides on Twitter. If you watch his Twitter, you'll see he's playing both sides. But he seems to be very, how can I put this, incapable.
yeah, a multi-billionaire is incapable. That's an interesting statement.
It's a sweeping statement, but there's been
Yeah.
another one of those this evening.
Well, he did put forward that he wants to pay taxes, and his tax bill was 11 billion, and everyone's basically gone, please don't pay it. And the reasons are completely different. Like, why pay taxes? Taxation's theft. And then you have the other end, like Bill Maher saying, I'm not giving you taxes because I know how the government will spend it. Like,
That is fair point.
yeah, we need to know gender studies of how a pencil on the International Space Station would affect people. So that's
We
$4
need to
billion
see
there.
if ants can sort tiny screws in space.
Yeah. Freedom, horrible freedom. Flashbacks. You don't have to raise your hand, Michael. Just
Manners.
talk.
It's manners.
For some reason, when I see or hear about Elon Musk, especially when I see him, I feel like oh man, like
Bill Cosby.
Aleister Crowley and Howdy Doody had a child or something. It's weird.
Maybe they did.
Like I get this really weird vibe from him. I don't know how to describe it.
I like freaking people out because I mentioned that he's an African American, and yeah, it doesn't compute.
He looks like Alfred E. Newman with some bad Mickey Rourke plastic surgery.
With billions and billions of dollars.
Was that
That was good. Sometimes you just get it right in the
it's
middle
like-
of the bullseye.
It's Thor and Mangala had a child, I think.
Interesting concept. But
open mic.
Hey, well, why not?
And
This is
our next youngster from Melbourne, man goes by the handle of Monty Dean, ladies and gentlemen. Monty Dean. Welcome, Monty Dean.
yeah, right.
That was the crowd. That was the stadium-sized crowd.
So Gravity, what's going on there? I recently watched the movie Moonfall. I believe everyone should
Same.
watch that.
I was about to talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, I watched it too. Just tonight.
Yeah. What I love about it, it really screws with flat earthers.
Oh yeah.
Did you notice how they inserted the hollow moon idea into it?
So-
Kinda, because that's a major plot point.
It's not a new idea.
So I think I figured out flat Earth. I think that I can scientifically prove what's going on there. I think anybody who believes that within the last 3 generations has incest in their family. That's just a theory. It's just a theory. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you can take that to a government body and get funding, I'll buy a white coat.
I would like to conduct my I would like to.
If you're leading to incest equals lower IQ, then I believe you, because I know enough people who have extremely low IQ and indulge in some form of incestuous relationship with their cousins who believe in that crap.
Oh, you mean the royal family? Yes. Yeah.
I was the
How
punchline.
many, friends?
Nice
It's
recovery.
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Hi-yo.
Oh, well, yeah, like I was having a chat with a friend earlier and just pointed out, like, eugenics. Give me an example of the eugenics. The royal family. Because apparently they have the divine right to rule, and so my progeny will take my place. And if that's not eugenics, I don't know what it is.
The last 2 years has been kind of
Why
eugenic.
Why get a job when there are wild pig to be hunted, Monty? Think about it.
Oh, but it's very far away from here. And those wild boars in the north end of Australia. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go hunting them with a bow and arrow.
Well, if the bow and arrow is actually a tactical nuke,
If they're
then
coming
yes.
straight at you, it will just ricochet off their foreheads. Even
Yeah.
bullets ricochet off their foreheads. If you're coming towards you, need to climb a tree.
Yeah, the razorback. Yeah, I mean, they're so prevalent. They actually made 3 or 4 horror movies about it, about this wild pig killing everyone in the outback.
Fantastic. I'm not ready to see Moonfall or any kind of crap like that. I
Why?
did see Moon Knight. That was kind of weird and different.
It was a good show. It was a good show. They actually took the trouble of not treating us like an idiot and weaving a plot and a character. So
the whole first episode character development. Pretty much,
was actually very good.
Can you dumb it down a little bit for me?
Can you dumb it down?
It's a comic book TV show.
Does anybody get punched?
You're the one who was talking about last week, Bruce.
You watched
Did I
it,
talk
Bruce.
about it?
I know you watched it.
You said
Yes,
I
you
am going to go watch it right now.
Bruce is watching sci-fi now. Bruce is watching sci-fi now, people.
I've made a vow to be funny tonight.
Yeah,
I made a vow.
me too.
All right, well,
That's why I'm quiet.
There's still an hour 18 left.
Do you feel like a little giggle, Cortek? Do you feel like a little giggle?
I just had one. Yes.
Yeah, which vowel? Like A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y?
No, that's a vowel.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll take A.
It's best if I don't spell that
E.
in French.
What does it spell?
It's voyelle,
Or vol, which is a small rodent.
which is vowel or something in English.
Graduating from a high school equivalency program in Australia requires little more than a box of toothpicks and some white glue. Not to be folks.
That's how
Well,
I
actually,
got
no. Most of us ate the glue, so we don't get the glue anymore.
You
You
need
good
a-
old
Some-
slag.
Someone had
You need a
had
badger
sniffing
kill and a few
accident and
punch.
ruined it for everyone.
and a few kangaroo punch.
Yeah.
Well, see,
So,
that's not true. You know, the boxing kangaroo is total farce. They use their feet and rip your guts out. If you get punched by a kangaroo, the kangaroo's taking the piss.
Yeah, they've got tiny little T-Rex arms. They can't actually punch you.
Yeah, they're
They
really
stand,
terrible.
they stand on the tail and rip your guts out with their 2 feet.
Someone I knew who ate kangaroo said it's almost leather. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a very tough meat.
Okay.
Yeah, like you have to eat it quick because it will punch you. That's how tough it is.
I will say this about the flat earthers. They're factually incorrect, but they're much more organized as a social force. They actually have a solution to what ails the world right now. Do you know what it is?
What?
Push them over the edge.
Yeah, it's Discworld all over again.
Nothing, Cortek?
No, I don't. I'm just
He's
lost.
thinking about
I'm
it.
lost in a real world where that does happen. Then I went into Total Risk, the board game. If all the edges were, you could push people off it. How everyone be gravitating to the middle, and I just kind of went a little bit spacey there. Thank you for drawing attention to it.
Yeah, how awesome the internet and humanity is. You can actually buy maps of the world that are upside down, and the place names are printed the right the right way up. So I should actually buy one soon, where Australia is actually up top and the northern hemisphere is actually the bottom half.
Yeah. Did I happen to tell you guys, and you might know, Monty, but this crew doesn't know. Did I happen to tell you guys about my confrontation with the terciopelo?
What does that word mean for starters?
You may know it as a fer-de-lance.
What does that mean for starters?
That's a venomous snake.
Oh, geez.
Start with snake then, Bruce.
Yeah.
How big was it?
Thank you.
It's about a meter.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not an Australian snake. This is a Costa Rica snake. So this has probably been there for billions of years and has a social presence on Twitter. And
I'm sure it was super scary. The little snake.
Yeah. No. I mean, there have been 3 or 4 bites in the last 2 years up here. Yeah, they're quite scary. Some people they just petrify when they see one. Like my wife's like that. She gets heart palpitations and she just but it was quite an experience. It's the first time I've had to do that up here. I've some smaller ones, and it's very unusual for a snake that big to come near a house. So
How near? What's the distance where you feel like you have to take care of it?
Well, it was on the back balcony.
On the house, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was an event, let me tell you.
Well, yeah.
That was my buka.
What did you do? How did you get rid of it? Stamp?
A walking stick, yeah. But you have to get it like the first time right on the head, or you're in trouble. Especially if it's coiled for action.
Did you just whack it on the head?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, this was like Pro Tour golf precision whacking.
Oh, whacking day. Oh, whacking day.
A little bit of physics in this, Cortek, okay? So you got to get down low, and you got to bring the whole stick down so that it almost falls on the earth. And the stick is about 6 feet big, and that's the distance you want between yourself and the snake.
Yeah.
But when you get down that low, you lose a little bit of your footwork and mobility, right? That's it. The whole undertaking is quite something, and you got to be very still, and you got to bring the stick in from the top of the snake, because if it sees it coming in at it, like you're trying to poke it in the head or something, it can't see.
Up.
Yeah. There's a whole process. Yeah.
Bruce is the wrong person to F with if you're a snake.
Well, they got to go. I mean, it's unfortunate you can't like humanely put them somewhere. They got to go. There's just so many of them up here. It's just, if you live up here, you kill them on sight. That's just the way it is.
Sounds safe.
They kill a lot of stuff. They kill dogs. They kill your cats. They kill a lot of stuff.
They take out horses as well, don't they?
They can, yeah. They can really screw up a horse or a cow, yeah. People lose cows every year up here from snake bites.
And that's a lot of money.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, it's good to hear, that golf swing, because Bruce has Scottish ancestry, so he's what's his name? I've gone blank. His Braveheart genes kicked in, and bye snake.
Yeah,
got there in the end.
So I belong here.
Well,
by the laws of the jungle, Monty, I belong here.
This is my territory. Thump.
Yeah. So we got the harvest starting early next week. Like it's been ready to cut for a few weeks, but the workers are just finishing up another farm in my family, and my son's going in on this harvest. He's going to be in the jungle for like 3 months, like 6 days a week, right? And like with 3 Nicaraguan brothers, so he's not going to get bit or anything like that, right? But he's just been rewatching Apocalypse Now. He saw it for the first time a month ago, but blew him away. The similarities in the millennial generation and the Gen X generation are uncanny. I feel like I'm reliving my childhood, or my his favorite album is Dark, and it's not just him. I said, "Are you telling me Dark Side of the Moon is playing in your generation?" And he goes, "Oh, huge."
Yeah.
Well, as a millennial, I can confirm we have a lot of similarities with Gen X's.
Yeah. So he's got all these Apocalypse lines now, right? Like in 4 more days, I'm going into the jungle, and that's who I'm really taking my orders from, anyways.
Laura.
He came out a man.
It's a good crop, the Abaca. And I've had some really good fortune, right? Like, I don't know what's going on in this country, but their currency is just really sinking. So when I came here, 1 Canadian dollar was about 400 colones. Now 1 Canadian dollar is 536 colones. That's about a 20% differential, right? So, the price of Abaca just went up per kilogram from the purchasing company in acknowledgement of all the inflation, the gasoline and everything, because we got to run a gas decorticator in the jungle to process the fiber right on the spot, right? So it doesn't
fill itself for free.
Yeah. This gentleman farming thing is pretty cool. I understand why Greek philosophers were into it.
My comedic brain, every time I hear Abaca, I just think of a 4-member Swedish pop group.
I thought of a magician. A dyslexic magician.
I'm supposed to. It's abracadabra. I keep getting it wrong. I keep pulling out a lion out of my hat. Abraca. Oh, damn it.
So, what do we think there, guys? Like, what's the prognosis here? How do people survive 2022? I mean, is Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and they coming to save us, or like what's going to happen?
Well, if you look at this show,
West.
yeah, get out of the way. Yeah,
Get out of the West.
Yeah, a billion ways to die in the West. It's what I find interesting is like if you follow this show, it's been 3 months. Like we're a quarter of the way through the year already, and so maybe just talking about what's going to happen as time screams by.
Yeah. You got to keep busy, man. It's nice to have something to do that takes your mind off all this crap, right?
Yes, I can't remember which movie it is, but it was Val Kilmer starring in it, and they're in high security maximum prison or something like that. And I can't remember the name of it, but he said basically how to survive. Yeah, well, you remember him saying the best way of surviving prison and to get through it is to have a routine. And if you stick to that routine, time flies by.
Yeah.
I have a routine: wake up at 4 a.m., go to gym, come back, drink alcohol, and watch memes.
You got to start. Very French.
Yeah, screw you. Yeah.
Avant-garde. Different,
Bruce just had the 1969 bilingual act in Canada flash in front of his eyes.
Well, here in Australia, in 1967, they actually had a public referendum to see if the Aboriginals should be classed as humans. I'm like, yeah, that's the level of.
What was the outcome?
They said yes, Cortek.
You never know. That might have been resulting in.
It was once. It was the one time that a referendum actually was just a simple question of should Aboriginals be counted in the census, and the Australian public said, yeah. Mind you, in 1999, when the Republic question came in, wasn't.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, well, usually the referendum questions are fixed. So instead of saying, "Do you want to buy a car?" the question was, "Do you want to buy a Leyland P76 or this burnt-out Model T Ford?" Neither. Oh, so you don't want a car?
No, wait. Let's amend that bill with a pay raise to all politicians.
Yeah, it's like no.
Denied.
Because it wasn't just a simple question, should Australia become a republic? They put forward a couple of ideas where there should be a preamble and mateship and all this stuff. It wasn't just the simple thing of yes or no.
It was rigged.
Yeah, so like, should we eat dinner? Was can I kick you in the nuts or punch you in the eye? Neither. Well, you don't want to eat some food then.
You can punch me in the eye.
Oh, good. I'll remember that when I see you.
Yeah.
Lol 17.
That's what I say. Push them all off the edge of the earth.
Well, yeah, but I remember, someone's asking, is the world flat? Yep, all the way around.
Pretty much.
And as I said, because consciousness is about belief structure, and we're in a placebo universe. So whatever beliefs you have is what you actually see is reflected back to as in your consciousness. And so if you believe the world is flat, that's what you're seeing because you are the center of your universe. Mine, slightly spherical, and no one really likes that answer because I point, wait, go back. We live in a hologram, a simulation.
Incest, Monty. Incest.
That's how at least one, if not more, hell dimensions were created.
Yeah. Like, does hell exist? It does now, thanks to the bloody church.
Exactly.
I think it does in everyone's head, doesn't it? You probably make your own construct for the next bit. It's more like a lumpy testicle, isn't it, the shape?
Unless you give yourself over to it. to source.
Yeah, and then there's an element like, but I don't believe there's corruption in the world. It's like, yes, well, there's more people that don't do the corruption, and the trick is to be a neutral observer and just go, this place is fracked, and find a routine and just come on this show every week, and while everything's collapsing. Yeah, okay, yeah, that looks like a drop pie. I like that. Cortek, for those playing at home, Cortek has shared a photo or a pic or an image of the planet, and it's not spheroid. Oh, it's not round, but it's a bit lumpy.
It's a bit lumpy.
Yeah. When you look at this pie. Oh, I've dropped it. Actually, that's it's a very nasty insult. You got a face like a drop pie.
Ooh.
And we've made it halfway. So those people from the alphabet agencies, good luck with dissecting the last 60 minutes. You are listening to Free Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com. Studio A, this is Planet Collingwood. We'll be right back after these short messages. I always think of a mouse and some brooms and a bucket of water. That's going old school. Bit of Fantasia for you. Welcome back to Planet Collingwood here on Revolution Radio, Studio A, freedomslips.com. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to said website, freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio, and click on the Patreon button there and share what you can so the bills for the station can continue, because we're 100% listener supported. The longest running crowdfunding project on the internet till someone points out that I'm wrong. And I don't accept taxes. I don't even pay them. Let's be fair. If once you're at the website, pop into the merchandising, the store, and you can buy T-shirts and caps and now cups. And I have to actually sort of talk to someone so I can get a Planet Collingwood cup, because you want to. Because when you listen to the show, you need to drink water and then spit it on your computer. And actually, there's an idea. I could sell the Planet Collingwood sneeze guard for your computer, because such riotous comedy and humour coming forth. That's why I believe the chat room isn't very active when the show's on, because people are laughing so hard they can't reach their keyboard. Now, we've been joined, luckily, by Cortek, Raz, Bruce, and Micheal from San Antonio. Not Michael from Reno. We don't like that guy. See, that's a North American reference. Gentlemen, how are we?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, did it?
Not bad, yeah.
Cry in it.
Hey, sir, are you doing accents?
Every now.
Monty, you got the chickens going?
No. I keep telling you. Does that mean I have to wear, have a strange beard? Do I have to look like Glenn Beck and call myself the Colonel?
You don't have to, but it'd be better if you did.
No. You just got to get it once cut in 5,000 chicks. You're off. You'll be the mayor of Melbourne in 5 years.
I'm not that corrupt.
You just brought up Glenn Beck. I know this is a little bit off, but what is going on with freaking Sean Hannity? Sean Hannity has
You'd be amazed what
his
chicken can buy in a. Yeah.
He's basically begging for nuclear war. He's basically pro-nuclear war with Russia.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'm not exaggerating. He's pro-nuclear effing war.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Just you shake your head and just.
It seems like there's got to be some voice that's calling to chop someone's head off, just brazenly.
Yeah, but nuclear war is not really a good idea. You can't really contain that. Someone that
bad.
Yeah. Someone that cannot be contained, and he's awake. So that's the first question I'm going to ask. But we have been joined by a long-time caller, long-time listener, Brandon Young. How are you, sir?
Hello, folks. How are you?
Hey, we started doing accents, and then
straight up to that with an accent.
And then Sue Young.
Is that like Liverpool?
Yes.
That was like John Lennon, kind of Liverpoolish.
This is Ringo.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I've got a song I like to sing.
Mais c'est pas qu'à cause d'un accent, hein, c'est un accent assez français, ouais, le accent.
You
Okay.
can't do it. You can't do a
I'll
French
shut up now.
accent
I'll
if
shut
you're
up
French.
now. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll go mute.
Yeah, don't do accents. This is my natural voice, you bastards.
I'm doing well, guys. How are you guys all hanging in there?
Well, yeah,
yeah,
we're trying to figure it out because, like, I mean,
Yep.
the concept of the show is to just make fun of things, and we've been asking the same questions for at least 3 months or even more, and we realised that this is our routine to get through the complete collapse of the West on a financial system, and we'll still maintain this level of levity and happiness, and when the world starts going, oh, hang on, we can do better, that's when we'll chime in.
That's when we'll
Right.
say, "Well, you try an accent then." Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word. What's the world's accent like? You know, I mean,
I don't know. So, depends who you ask.
no.
Tell me about the rabbits, George. Tell me about the rabbits.
I think the fact that it took us 2 years to get through this is a pretty good indicator or yardstick about how far the bracket is in terms of the understandings of goings on and how to fix them fastest. Because it's definitely something we can't do without everyone involved. So there's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure you're glad it's just global and not galactic. I'm just glad it's just the one planet. I'm not that's why I've never agreed to, like, let's see what happens when the whole galaxy's free will, and then we'll have a dark entity come in and like, no, just the planet, thank you. That's enough.
Yeah, we've been studying. I've been teaching science and middle school kids, you know, and we're talking about planets and other worlds and introducing them to the concept of galaxies and this and that, and their minds are just blown, and they immediately go to like alien life. You know, that's the first thing they think of. And
have you
we're
seen
like,
the
well,
movie?
we have problems here. You know?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. I mean, well, NASA's discovered a whole planet of diamond. Sure, you have.
Pretty specific.
What was that, Bruce? And that was your moment of zen.
Okay.
That was lull.
Connection issue.
Yeah,
I
that was.
did hear a tree fall.
Well, finally, that question has been answered.
If
Yeah,
anybody
and
doubts
one
the
hand
existence
clapping.
of
I'm on
alien life, look at Iapetus, the moon of Saturn. It's a big piece of metal that was welded together, the entire equator. It's got a equator the opposite of ours. It's got a, I guess, a lateral, or I don't know.
Yeah,
what
up and
call it.
down.
You
instead
can
of across.
see
Yeah,
the,
vertical-
you can see
vertical, yeah.
the outer cup
You can
seam
see-
and
yeah.
the middle seam. Yeah.
It's just a big weld spot all
going on?
around the entire thing. I'm like,
The
come on.
Death Star, yeah. It's basically the
Exactly,
Death Star.
yeah.
But,
Go ahead, Bruce.
That's a, yeah.
I think that
What are we-
Death
what are we talking about?
that Death Star nodule would
Cortek?
be where it's attached for build.
Is that Cortek?
Hello? What's going on over there?
I'm on data. I could be going out. I don't know.
Yes, you are.
What were we talking about there? Saturn? Some moon
Well,
is
well,
welded together? Is that what I heard?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, I mean-
Iapetus. If you look at Iapetus, it looks like a big piece of metal, and it's got like a big spot. It's across. It's got a vertical equator, and it's got a weld spot around the entirety of the moon.
It's like a
Some-
walnut almost, if you can
And it-
imagine.
Yeah,
And the two moons of Mars, well, at least one of them they've figured out is a structure, and it's not naturally formed.
Yeah, Phobos.
So we're right back to Moonfall.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask Brandon, have you seen the movie Moonfall?
No.
I
Is that
recommend it.
new- Is that the new Bond?
No, that's Skyfall,
Oh.
completely
No.
different film.
we didn't tell Bruce the point of that though. The point of that whole Saturn thing was if you doubt the existence of aliens, just look at things like Iapetus. That was kind of what the
Well,
point was.
remember, there's a great book. I haven't read it, but the ring makers of Saturn.
I have read
Great. That was a great
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got photos of like, why is this boomerang making the rings? What's going on here? As well as Saturn, it's quirky. Oh, this is a natural phenomenon. No, it's not. It's got a hexagon at its north pole. Nature doesn't do straight lines. Nature doesn't do straight lines.
Nature does straight
exactly.
lines, actually. It's the hyperdimensional torsion field. If you watch, what's that South African guy who talks about torus?
Micheal
also-
Tellinger?
Michael Tellinger. So Michael Tellinger talks about the hyperdimensional torsion field, which is essentially two triangles, one upright, one upside down,
Yeah.
and then it forms like the star of the
Yeah.
Israel flag. Yeah.
Yeah, the Earth's
So-
got its own. Yeah, it's all about donuts.
So when you spiral in, when you spiral inwards and upwards, it forms that sort of what did you just say? Tetrahedron, whatever shape it does.
Z-Star,
It-
David.
Yeah. It forms that on top of Saturn and also on top of Neptune, I think, have it. So it is the fundamental for making spheres in nature, because nature doesn't have spheres. So Monty was a little bit right, a little bit wrong, sorry. It's not about nature doesn't do straight lines. Nature doesn't do spheres. Nature does straight lines.
That just reminds me of a great quote about flat earthers. They sphere, what is it? They sphere itself or something. Yeah. They, instead of saying fear, they say sphere. I wish I could remember it now. It would have been funnier.
Way funnier.
Yeah, thank you, nitpick boy.
So yeah,
Well,
it's not,
I am pedantic, man.
when you see the pictures of those hexagons or kind of things, they're not a flat hexagon. That would be kind of the energy, 3D energy modeled from those platonic solids, that have that shape when they're going from one shape to the other.
It's actually a cube, but it's turned on one point, so it appears to be a hexagon. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cube, but it stands on an edge or a point.
Which brings up, let's bring in Mecca, because they do 7 laps of this massive cube where, is it meteor? That makes it to the ground. Not an asteroid doesn't, but a meteor. Yeah, and so it's got a chunk in that. Yeah, and it's like
And they march counterclockwise around that cube, and the storm on the North Pole of Saturn around the cube on the North Pole goes counterclockwise as well.
Yeah, so I'm getting the hints that something's weird's happening. What? Planet Earth, weird.
It's putting it mildly.
Yeah. Well, in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Earth, mostly harmless.
It's a good movie to bring up, though.
Oh, yeah. Douglas Adams was hilarious and very intelligent, because if you remember what's the drive? They've got the improbable drive, and that's how they can travel through the galaxy. And at one point, 2 torpedoes, they engage the drive, and these missiles turn into a whale and a pot of petunias. And the whale is having self-realization as it falls to the planet, and apparently the pot of petunias just says, "Oh no, not again." What? Don't think about that joke too much. It's like, wait, again?
Yeah.
Just going over that moon and stuff, and those bits of where you do see kind of some kind of construction in it. It's a great movie to talk about that very end bit, where they're just putting stuff back together.
Right.
I like that idea of, video games progressing so much to the top point where you want to make something one-to-one that you can go and play around in as well. Or the game is not to be a character in that one-to-one thing, but to have the cheat codes.
Yeah, actually, Babylon Bee did an article. And for the one person listening that doesn't know, it's a parody site. They're making it up. It's all jokes. But yeah, I'm sorry to break your heart there, Brandon. But Babylon Bee.
What about The Onion?
Well, no, that's a news source.
Oh,
But it's God creates a metaverse, and that was the whole premise of it. Like, well, the metaverse has already been created by God, where So, but
oof.
remember, you are your own God, and you're a spirit having a human experience. You're not in God mode because agreements were made.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'll be right back. My cat is calling me, and of course I have to obey the goddess, or she'll crap in my bed again. So I'll be back in a sec.
You got it.
Jeez, that guy's pussy whipped.
No, pun intended.
Wonder what it's calling this.
Yeah, that'll be the money line of the whole round table. But he didn't hear it. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. How you doing there, Brandon? You get yourself some land?
Oh yeah, doing well. Thanks, Bruce. Oh yeah, I'm doing just you guys are talking about routines.
Whatever became of your Nicaragua project?
Oh, my friend, he's down there. Still has this beachfront property.
Nice.
That he turned into a sort of a surfing camp. But basically,
Nice.
it's his own private little island down there. And but he was down there. I think they're having some political turmoil, as usual.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he's back in the States. Went to med school, and is now getting married up here. So he's back up here. And but for the vacations, you just go down there for the summer, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's nice, So you're still in Rica?
Yeah, man. I'm still down in the province of Limon, up in the Talamanca Mountains.
Beautiful.
I got a lot of Nicaraguans living with me now, though, because they're the only ones who can really do the work, for the oh yeah. Costa Ricans are real lazy, man. Well, not all of them, but oh yeah, dude. Yeah. So all the hard work here is done by Nicaraguans. It's good. The Nicaraguans are to Costa Rica what Mexicans are to Arizona and Texas. Home Depot workers. Yeah. Everybody's got their social system, right? There's a social system here too, and it's basically Costa Ricans, natives, and Nicaraguans, and then a pretty healthy and growing expat population, which is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like 200,000 people, maybe more. No.
Yeah.
So it's a trip, man. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna go up to Nicaragua. I got an open invite there to go stay with my workers' family. So I might take them up on it after the harvest. Yeah.
Well, if we stay in touch, if I'm down there, or my friends down there, feel free to get off a surfboard and come on the beach.
Is he on the Pacific or the Caribbean side?
I think it's the Caribbean side. I'm pretty sure it's Caribbean side. So, but I will make sure that it's still in order and and around. So
yeah,
but beautiful down there. I mean, it's I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's like the island,
Yeah. It's a very fertile place down here by the equator, man. It's like life on steroids.
Yeah.
Very, very. It's just life everywhere, man. The vibe. It's the opposite of a desert. Especially where I am. Exactly where I am. Like if you were to look at the weather patterns, you ever want to know where I live? Just look for the 10 square kilometers in Costa Rica that gets the most rain every year, and that's where I am.
Oh wow.
And it's just perfect. Yeah, it's just perfect for growing, right? Like it's just beautiful. And this is still the cleanest province in Costa Rica. You can still drink out of the rivers here, right? Which is what we do. We don't have any water filtration here other than the rocks in the river. So it's a nice life, man. I'm glad I made the move. I remember you did that thing in Nicaragua. I was wondering what was going on with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
been
circle back to the rest of the roundtable. What do you make of this? What's going on there in the United States and the world? What do you make of all of it,
fellas?
What? Oh, hi. No. We were mentioning how what was going on. So I think Bruce is asking you, Brandon, what your thoughts of what crazy times are happening on the planet.
Well, what specifically? There's so much. I mean,
well, do you think in general we're witnessing the end of Western civilization?
And so, yes, in a lot of ways, yeah. I think we've been witnessing it for a long time. It's just that some of us are just waking up to it now. But I think Western, depends on how you define it, but I think it will persist. I think it will go on.
I will interject then here by saying we're not witnessing the end of Western supremacy, but we're not witnessing the end of Western civilization, but we're witnessing the end of Western supremacy. So the next supremacy would be more Euro-Asian going forward, because the dollar is going to go to shit within 2023. And it's going to be the ruble. Everyone will have to change. The petrodollar is gone. So the economy of the US will be going down. And if you watch the video of the Great Reset, there's one line that a lot of people seems to have missed over the whole, you will own nothing and you will be happy. One of the lines said, in the future, America will not have the supremacy it had in the old world. When I say the old world, I'm talking about 1945 to 2001. So America will not have that supremacy anymore.
That also doesn't, automatically say that someone else has it instead. The whole thing changes about why that might not be the case is because everything's changing around that and that structure is dissolving.
Well, it's corrupt. That's the problem. The idea of that supremacy is because they did really well at manufacturing war machines, and they thought that to help the economy and to help its standing on the world stage is to continually have a military presence. And in a way, they created the Cold War because Russia was an ally during the war, but then they defeated Hitler and Mussolini and no, they're evil. They're evil, I tell you. They could be doing things kind of what's happening now, really.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I love my moments with Collingwood where I say something and then there's because everyone's like, yeah.
So try to make it illegal to be part of any religion in the United States.
Yeah.
Or any spirituality, honestly. I think they're going to try to stamp it out really fast.
Well, they have been. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have been, but I think they're going to ramp it up quite a bit.
Maybe. But, there's going to be people who resist in pockets.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Because one thing you can't take is somebody's soul, They can try, but,
they actually have to. You have to give it willingly. Like it's an element of consent. They can't take it from you, but they can coerce you into it. Like going back,
coerce you into a contract.
Yeah.
Want to play blues guitar?
Yeah. I'll meet you at the crossroads, man. But it's a thing. It's like angels create and demons manipulate, and so they can't create anything themselves. And it could be that they've lost connection to source, even if it was on purpose. And yet, but you've just seen, dare I say, look what Disney has done to the Star Wars franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Disney just going the road of Sony, Apple, and everything else.
Oh, but Sony.
Sorry, go.
Let's just for the sake of expediency on these roundtables, just agree that everybody has their own definition of the apocalypse. Monty's has something to do with Star Wars and Disney,
and Doctor Who. Got to always have a Doctor Who.
And cats.
Isn't the
Oh, yes,
easiest
we
way
can-
to deal with
we
the
can't-
apocalypse to pretend it just already happened already?
Yeah, we can't ignore our overlords.
And-
Run
And,
by
and,
horses.
and in terms of clear signs of the end, he's probably closer than any of us. It probably did start with Disney and Star Wars.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Walt Disney is spinning in his cryogenics tank as we speak.
He's still frozen, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's spinning.
I swear they'll come up with a cure and a solution for that one day.
He's waiting for all the Jews
Yeah.
to die before he's resurrected.
I think the contract states that his grandson, Klaus Schwab, will resuscitate him.
If you had the choice in that, would you go for when because you never know when it's going to happen, when they get the breakthrough, or would you set a time on it? Would you go like 100 years, 500 years? What would be your choice if you were cryogenically freezing yourself, do you reckon?
I really can't put a best before date on that, Cortek. But thanks for the question.
No, you would have a clause on that.
No, I just like the
If
image
you
of
time
somewhere in Area 52, somewhere in Nevada desert, 700 miles down below the Earth's crust. There's all these cryogenic ones, and there's like resurrect by 2038. It's used by date. So I'm like, well, we tried, Walt. Sorry.
Or
It's
in,
right
like,
next to the
Dulles.
frozen peas. Yeah.
It's under the Denver airport.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, some of the weird stuff, like, there's no conspiracy and there's no new world order. And it's like, well, explain the mural at the Denver airport, because it's like,
Explain the murals. There's so many of them.
Yeah,
Don't
and
you have a dancing death horse as well, a giant
obvious.
prancing death horse with
Lucifer.
red eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucifer. Yeah.
Nothing sus.
Yeah.
the white horse and everything. It's like, okay.
Oh, and the runways.
Or like the gorgeous guy stones. Like, you keep talking about this end of the world thing like it's written in stones. Like, yeah, in Georgia, and it's in 7 languages. Oh, no, that's fake. Why is it still there then?
Of course, it's on private
It's
property
stone.
and they pay for security. But it's the same people who put that up to try and use illusion to try and make people in awe of something that, oh, geez, did the Egyptians build that? No, it kind of got there. What was it, 80s, 90s? Halfway through the 80s?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when people say, "Oh, the what is it? The Chronicles of the Elders of Zion." Oh, that's fake.
The
Really?
Chronicles of
What if-
Narnia. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chronicles of Narnia. It's like, oh, but that's
The
fake. It's like-
protocols.
yeah, the protocols. Yeah,
The Protocols of Narnia.
that document has said, oh, but that's fake. That's never that doesn't that's completely fake. It's
The
not
Lion,
true.
the Jew, and the War.
Aslan's Jesus, they've killed him again. Moving on. Anyway, my point is, with that document, they say it's fake and it's just a conspiracy. Well, if you actually read it, someone's read it because they're following exactly what's in that document. If it's fake, it's like, well, they've taken the idea and run with it.
Yeah, there's still some truth in some fake documents,
Well,
Doesn't
yeah.
mean- and there's
The
still
ideas that they throw up, makes you talk about it. Even if it's like what's that Man in the High Tower book where the Second World War is kind of reversed, and and the whole American landscape has completely changed. It never happened, but it's super
Man in the
interesting
Tall
talking
Castle.
about the
Man in the High Castle. Yes.
yeah,
Man in the
talking
High
about
Castle.
the ramifications of
Yeah,
something
it's
like
a,
that, of an idea,
It's alternative realities where the Nazis actually win, and so America's cut into. It's a good TV show if that floats your boat, where the United States lost, and so the East Coast is basically under Nazi rule, and the West Coast is under Japanese rule.
yeah. It's Douglas's Dietrich's dream come true. That's basically-
yeah, and that is the world I want.
Yeah.
How's he doing? He's still doing stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How is Douglas doing?
He's
we're
he's really
broadcasting.
he's really what attracted me to the station. I heard about some stuff that he was talking about, some ideas he was talking about the Second World War and stuff like that
Right.
on Nexus magazine, and that attracted me to his show on Rev Radio. That was ages ago. 2001 happened. Oh no, not 2001. 9/11.
Douglas has a lot of good things to say and a lot of dumb things to say at the same time. It's 50-50. I appreciate him as much as I know that a good portion is just not true.
Well, he's living
Yeah.
his life.
I mean, you gotta live your best life. That's all.
That's all that's important in the end.
Yeah.
You know, no, but you know, he's still broadcasts on YouTube. You try to make it every week with Peter Moon, who's an author of the Montauk books and so on. He just wrote a book about Douglas, or 2 books about Douglas, about Roswell, and because Douglas goes all into Roswell. He's incredibly knowledgeable, encyclopedic. And can just talk for. I mean,
We should just
these. I'm sorry.
Cutting out a bit, Bruce. That's all.
Yeah. He broadcasts for about 7, 8, 9. If you go to hours, if you go to his YouTube station.
Yeah, no, I remember just listening to it sometimes, and you just get into some obscure subject, and it would just the amount of information would just explode out.
It's insane.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
So
that's amazing.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Go ahead.
A little bit of tinkering. I think they lifted the hood, threw in some nodes.
Not the bad nodes.
No nodes. That's a no nodes. Hey, by the way, I showed that film, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, in middle school science class.
Oh, good.
And yeah, and they all thought it was a sequel to The Hobbit.
What? How?
Did you gave out? Were you giving out your mushroom tea again?
Yes, that's what it was. Well, it's it goes along with the whole Hobbit theme. You got to get second breakfast as well.
Always know where your towel is.
Yeah. Well, we have these standardized tests tomorrow as well, or today rather.
That'll be fun.
Probably why I'm up. It's going to be so much fun. Just to let you know, I've got the answers, and I will give them. No, I'm just kidding. Probably get arrested for that, but.
Well, depending which state you're in, I mean, the education has turned into a battlefield where the federal government actually called parents that went to school meetings to question the curriculum domestic terrorists. And bit of an overreach.
Yeah, it is. I welcome that, and I welcome everybody to come and participate in parent-teacher conferences and school committee meetings. It's some of these people, I mean, especially in this town that I work in, have been just the laziest bureaucrats that you can imagine. They just sit and they meet for lunch and they decide, budgets of millions and millions of dollars, 3-4 people, right? So it's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, we did get a raise, right? Because the cost of living's gone up about 30% here, and so we got a 2-cent raise.
Oh, now you don't spend it all at once. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said, here I am coming from a labor union background, and then all the teachers are saying, oh, they only allow us to negotiate once every 3 years. I'm like, we allow them. Do you understand how this works?
Yeah, here in Australia, the federal budget was announced last week or the week before, and the government, in its infinite wisdom and from the goodness of their own heart, people that get welfare benefits like pensioners and unemployed, they're giving everyone $250 to help with the cost of living. Unfortunately, that's 3 days.
What they should have done was spent that $250 on a limousine, because basically the same thing, to drive them to the polling booth. That would have been more effective. That's basically what they're trying to do.
Well, you know how in the States they've said if you want to get over these oil prices, you should buy an electric car. And I don't have $60,000. Our Prime Minister or someone high up in the government said, these people that having problem with their rent, they should buy a house. No, that thought never occurred to me.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Jeez.
There's kind of feeling. It's like time slowed down then.
It's like a record playing backwards.
Sure, but yeah, bro.
I think if you'd like to donate to Planet Collingwood so we can actually hire a translator to see what Bruce is saying, send money now.
I did a translator course on my last holiday, my last long weekend.
Yeah, from what to what?
What language did you translate?
Any language.
Any? No, that's impossible.
I'll give it a crack.
All right, so you can translate Klingon into
language,
Swedish.
And come on.
Klingon into Swedish. Come on.
I reckon I could understand maybe 40% of it, maybe. And then I could give Morris. I can't talk back in the language, obviously.
R2D2 into Wookiee.
Yeah, you can get those. It's all about the inflections. So, it's the emotions, whether they're
yeah, Elvish and Klingon. That actually, they actually do have courses to learn Klingon, and they recommend having a rag. They have when you start to learn Klingon, have a rag close by you because there's a lot of spittle.
Very guttural. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna have like windshield wipers on your eyes,
Yeah. The Planet Collingwood sneeze gun and forehead. Yeah, and that's why their forehead's so huge.
That's right. That's exactly right. And
with the ridges, and so it acts like gutters.
Yeah.
A big shout out to a big shout out to all the alphabet agencies listening in. What the hell are they talking about now?
Yeah. We don't get it. We are robots. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. One idea for a name of the show for Planet Collingwood was G'day ASIO. But I thought, nah, that's a bit too much.
It makes you want to say it all as one word, too.
G'day, It sounds like a new gender.
Isn't that, or an electronic cryptocurrency?
Man, I'm deep diving into G'day.
Yeah. Have you guys gotten into the NFT markets? Like... anything? I'm not. I hate it. I think I know a person that's like racing horses, NFT horses and stuff, and it's the stupidest thing it's the biggest scam I've ever heard of. But
it did seem like it was like an advertising campaign for Ethereum because it was all based on Ethereum. More people have come out and started to do things, but it's still. Why would you bother?
Well, I'm not really into video games. If I do play a video game, it's The Force Unleashed, Star Wars, where I'm Darth Vader's apprentice and I put it on easy and I kill everyone. It's fantastic. But apart from that, I know I've got one and two.
Yeah. Have you played the Ultimate Sith Edition? Have either one?
Not yet. I think I can because I've got a PlayStation 3. I think you fight Obi-Wan. So if I give out the shekels, I can get them. So eventually, I probably will.
God. Cool.
The Lego Star Wars just came out. The new video game.
How's that for a marketing thing? Like, how do we sell more Star Wars? We'll just let Lego make everything we've already made, and people will buy it because it's in Lego form.
Yeah. I know a kid that stayed up till. Or he woke up at 5:30 this morning just to play it for an hour or whatever. He's like, I already got through the Phantom Menace.
yeah. People, do you play video games? No, I live in one.
That Lego Death Star is like now, even out of the box, is like worth like $2,000 to $5,000 or something.
My nephew has one of it, and it's got every scene of the Death Star, and like, well, cool, but you're 12.
I totally geeked out recently and joined a gaming clan.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's so good.
Good games out there.
It's so good. Oh, my God. All the money goes into video games. So if you're still watching movies, like that was 10 years ago, you should have really tried something out or upgrade your system by now. And there are so many amazing worlds and so much money being pumped into these titles. Every single one's amazing. But I'm playing a massive mill sim. And so the main thing that when days of Call of Duties and stuff like that, where you have a little sandbox going, everyone doesn't want to be PvP like against each other. So everyone wants to be in a situation where they're doing a co-op situation. from Left 4 Dead 2 onwards, everything took that model of four people just having, four friends having fun in the environment themselves. And this is just kind of expanding that to 30 to 200 people. And so there has to be kind of a bit of organization, but there's it's amazing. It's so much fun.
This is the last call-in show for the Galactic Historian. Andrew discovered, he came up with the idea. He's going to have a call-in show in World of Warcraft.
Oh, cool.
That sounds amazing.
Because he pops it. He's been in World of Warcraft for years.
Does he play it? Yeah.
Yeah. He plays it. He pops in occasionally, and because it's so open world, where thousands of people are doing stuff, just getting together, like the community worldwide. They go on all of these servers, and
yes, there's so many communities, and there's so many. It's about the interaction in these co-op environments when you're not head to head just trying to shoot someone's head off. It's the interactions that you have in this new environment and the funny things that happen along the way. That's why I tell anyone who's maybe a kid is into video games, get into it and start enjoying those moments as well, because it's going to be a great big part of their life. No two ways about it, and you're either there or you're not. And it's not that hard to get involved.
No, but I love the Matrix movie, so I'm not joining that type of thing.
It's so much fun.
I can see the appeal. I don't get wrong, but for me, I go outside.
VR
there's a Star Wars version of World of Warcraft, basically. It's actually pretty good. It's just called Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, that.
No,
yeah,
it's The Old Republic online. It's awesome. It's because it takes place like 3,000 or 4,000 years before
that's right.
the first Star Wars movie, Episode 4.
That is a great series. Yeah.
That's when they had thousands of Sith Lords and everything else like that.
Exactly, and thousands of millions of Jedi, and they were all at war, and you had the Mandalorians, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing they actually used the galaxy correctly, unlike the Disney sequel trilogies when there's only 4 friggin' we're in the galaxy. It's like you haven't Book of Boba Fett. It's like Tatooine again, like Kenobi that's coming out in May. Oh, we're on Tatooine. Again. It's like, what is this, the Book of Sand? Like, come on.
It's like they're trying to make it into Dune or something. I don't know.
Can I just say how disappointed I was with the latest?
Because it's weird because you've got spice runners on Tatooine all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, how obvious do they want to make it that they're trying to parallel Dune here?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
they're making the second part of that because the first part was popular, and they got the scale right, but like it could have been edited down. Like, do something, but it's June, so I mean, I because the latest one it finishes halfway through the story. I actually downloaded the director's cut of the David Lynch version so I could have closure on the anecdote, and that movie holds up. It's cheesy. It's 1984 or whatever it is. Who cares? It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's very close to the book.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's so close.
Really?
It's almost verbatim from the book.
Exactly. The latest one seems like it's being made to obscure some of the best bits, which is the power of amplifying the voice of a weapon somehow.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting. Oh, sorry. Good
I was just going to say,
wouldn't be surprised if they just leave that out of the latest one.
Well, the new one is we haven't seen the Emperor yet. I think he's mentioned twice. Right. And he's pivotal in the story because that's where Paul actually, defeats the Emperor.
And we haven't seen the Guild Navigator yet, which is a huge part of it too, because they're on the Spacing Guild we haven't seen. They're a huge part of the conspiracy too.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big gas things in the big container, wasn't it? In the original
big slugs.
Yeah.
They're humans that have evolved by using accelerated spice evolution.
Yeah,
and it's the only way they can
used to be a human.
Yeah, it's the only way of space travel. Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just the interesting thing my friend pointed out to me is that if you watch Dune, Paul Atreides is either Antichrist or Christ, depending on how you look at it. Right? So it's very interesting. Go back and look at it through those lenses. It's like, because very first scene, I think the girl says, "We have our enemy," or whatever, and it immediately cuts over to Paul, or our oppressor, or something like that, and it goes to Paul, who is going. It's no. I mean, are we surprised that he becomes the Quickstock Cotterock? You know, I mean,
no,
if you
but
read the
remember, he
book,
doesn't. If you read through to by the sixth book, we find out. You
oh
remember,
yeah,
Duncan is actually the Kwisatz Haderach. You find
Yeah.
out it wasn't Paul.
And he starts
Yeah.
kind of he
Absolutely
develops
crazy.
this stuff around him, and he's able to kind of go through the sand like some
Yeah, and then
sand beast.
well, then he dies, and they make the Thylaxians make clones of him, but the clones are so pure they still consider it Duncan. They don't
Interesting.
consider it. Yeah, it's really interesting.
I've only gotten into up to Dune Messiah.
There's 22 of them, man. That's crazy. Because after he
Yeah.
died, his son took over from his notes and made like 15 more books, including the prequels like the Butlerian Jihad and all that junk.
Yes, I know about that. But like, and there's one, I think it's Messiah, where a descendant becomes like integrated with a sandworm. Right?
Yeah, there's something weird that he does, and it's like becomes part of his body. And he's just this weird superhero Marvel character just playing around.
So I stick to the first couple books, and
I
that's
haven't done the
interesting.
other 20 or something. I mean,
Yeah,
I
Leto
did those first
too
ones.
becomes a sandworm
That's
eventually.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Leto too. Yeah.
Leto the second, yeah. Paul's son, Leto the second.
So I can't wait for that sequel.
Wait. You mean I have to read something? Oh man.
No,
No,
you
you can read the Wikipedia article on all the books. Saves some time.
you get someone to read it to you.
Well,
Exactly.
That is true, but having actually released the audiobook, it's a massive scam, and I'm pissed off about it.
Oh, right.
But we won't talk about that. I'm not here to rant.
No.
Amazon must die. Moving on.
Yes.
It seemed to be a
Bezos.
timing thing, Bezos just sending up that giant penis. He hasn't done it since, has he? Seemed like a...
Well, he just announced,
A
did you guys see
race.
this, that the novelization of the Lord of the Rings series is done by George R. Martin.
Yeah, that's not going to go well.
I don't know. Some people are accepting it, but it's like that's not what some people wanted.
No, we
Yeah,
wanted
that's
actually source material. Not oh look, we have a dwarfish queen. It's like, okay, well, she's black and doesn't have a beard.
Yeah.
Now, if you live in a cave your entire life, how can you create melanin to defeat the sun?
Oh, God, who knows? I guess it's from.
Wasn't the prequel that y'all are talking about for Game of Thrones? What didn't they spend like $35 million on the first episode, and then they decided to cancel the series or something like that?
Oh yeah, there's a series coming out with Matt Smith, who played the Doctor. So just getting the Doctor Who references.
Oh.
But there are the House of Dragon or something like that. So they announced 3 different projects, and they all got cancelled, mainly because people saw season 8 of Game of Thrones and going, oh no. Have you noticed no one really talks about Game of Thrones anymore? Like the hype of it, and they didn't. It was
like COVID.
It was the Hindenburg landing in the United States. That's how Game of Thrones. Like they left Germany, they flew over the Atlantic. It's going all well, and then a bit of stack electricity and the humanity.
It was almost as bad as Lost, the way Lost ended.
I remember that.
I didn't mind the ending of Lost, but I can see why everyone was upset. It's like, really? They all ended up in heaven, and they still haven't pointed out what the frack the island is?
Exactly.
That's a cop-out. They could have written stuff better than that. A 5-year-old
It was these 2 guys. You know what I mean? It's these 2 brothers.
They explain they explain how the island is when they turn up, when the plane crashes. But the island existed before the 2 brothers and all that type of stuff. It's like, well, what's the purpose of the island then?
So you know how movies are being made off video games? It's been happening a long time. So I think Lost maybe was based on a video game called The Forest. It probably is the other way around. But The Forest is amazing. It's the same kind of thing. But how that ends, so you crash land, you got to survive kind of thing, and there's all this weird stuff going on the island. But how it ends is, spoiler alert, you end up finding this cave and tunnel and finding this control panel with this giant big button, and then you press it, and then you've got from this point you've got the whole kind of island out in front of you. You press it and it sends out an EMP and another plane crashes.
No way.
It's super cool.
Yes,
that's
Bruce.
cool.
Come
Thank
in,
you,
Bruce. So apparently, spiders use their web to hear. Apparently, vibration stuff. Over to you, Bruce.
They actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I saw the second Spider-Man 2 with
So-
James Garfield. That's where I learned that.
No.
Bruce, you're breaking up, Bruce.
Monty-
It's the
Monty.
this is a,
Well, it
He
sounds
turned
like
the
he's had a
comedy
stroke.
into a horror show. My God.
Oh, like how do you live in a cave and like?
All I know is he's trying to make a joke about me, and unfortunately he does.
I can't be heard.
You can now. Go now.
Quick.
And so he left.
Oh.
So hopefully he'll be back once he figures out. He lives in the Talamanca Mountains. So we're here in Melbourne. We have our own mountain range, and it's called Dandenongs. The Dandenongs, and I remember Billy Connolly making jokes about it because it just sounds like a reference to your testicles. Oh, I've been kicked in the Dandenongs. Talamanca, it sounds like that as well. Like, oh, the Talamanca Mountains. Like, oh, I've been kicked in the Talamancas.
Of all places, why'd you have to kick me in the Talamancas, mate?
Yeah, what are you doing, son? Everyone was having fun, and then someone gets a bit serious. It's all fun and games till someone loses an eye.
Yeah, it's happened. That's where that phrase comes from.
Till someone loses a Talamanca.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to lose a Dandenong, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, somehow we're at the end of the show. So I like this planning that we have now of just trying to figure out what's going on every week, and the week flies by. So
And then laughing at it. Yeah.
well, yeah, that's the plan, really, is just to giggle at the absurdity of life.
Well, you laugh or cry, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's if you break through tragedy, you end up in comedy again. Like, I mean, Joe Biden is the leader of the free world. I mean,
You listen here, Jack.
He's not leading anything.
I want to thank you, Monty, for being there in our darkest days. I want you to thank you for your support.
Come on.
we will laugh at them on the beaches. We'll laugh at them in the air. We will laugh them in the field of conflict.
Yes. Well, that's
We will laugh
it's
at
one of
them outside of paradox comedy reality. Just to add this in.
Oh yeah, I love a good paradox.
Mm.
So, like, James Gunn got cancelled for pedophilia jokes, but still makes major budget movies. I'm like, well, how does that work?
Yeah.
money. It's called money.
Oh yeah, I know. Like, cancel culture's real. Yeah.
For
like,
certain people.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's fine when we do it.
I think it's what you call a fad.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fad. Yeah, I do remember. If you say racism jokes, you're racist. But if you say pedophilia jokes, you become a successful Hollywood director. It's fascinating how that works.
They know what they like.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're at the end. So thank you, Bruce, for turning up. Cortek, any final thoughts?
I heard consciousness is a prerequisite to immortality.
Yeah. Kinda. Who told you that?
Heard it on the grapevine.
You've broken Raz. I like that. Micheal, thank you for joining us from San Antonio.
Thank
Any
you
final
for
thoughts?
having me, sir.
Hey.
I can't. I think that somehow, if you can find a way out of the Western world, otherwise, just make sure you're on the side of the divine and not the demonic, and prepare yourself.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, making your way out of the Western world, you can still live in it geographically and sort of survive. That's my plan. So it makes sense. Brandon, we haven't heard from you for a while, so thank you for turning up. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. And it's really good to hear you guys. I try to listen in every week if I can. And thank you for letting me join it. And my final thought would be, you know that scene where Indiana Jones and the guy are they're heading in the boat is about to like chop him up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says to Indy, he says, "My soul is prepared, Dr. Jones. How about yours?" And he just jumps over and saves him, you know. So prepare your soul. Make sure your soul is prepared, and you'll be okay on the boat.
Yeah, here's one I prepared earlier. It's got a life jacket. Take that, Indy. And Raz, any final thoughts?
Well, keep an open mind. Remember, you're not a nation, you're not a culture, you're galactic wide. So welcome your galactic citizenship and you'll be fine through everything that's going to happen from now on. That's all.
Yeah, you create your reality. You almost have control over it, and don't let the man put you down.
Think of yourself as a galactic citizen, and you'll be fine. You think of yourself as a global citizen, you'll be effed hard.
Yeah,
very graphic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you said that to a hermit that's been isolated for 7 years, and quite frankly, my pon far is up. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm saying it to all the audience listening.
I know. Oh, for those who aren't aware, pon far is that every Vulcan needs to have sex every 7 years, or they get really cranky and beat up people.
Is that why they're the way they are?
Well, yeah, because they've gone to logic, so they suppress their emotions, and they're a completely violent race more than humans, and so they eventually after 7 years of like, no, Daddy needs to release.
Yeah.
We are at the end.
You know how violent the Romulans are? The Vulcans used to be the Romulans.
Yes. Well, we'll come back next week. That was Planet Collingwood. You're on Revolution Radio Studio A. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back in 26 days and 22 hours because we time traveled. I love you from afar. We'll keep it that way. See you all soon.